Hello everyone, welcome to sqadia.com. Today our topic of discussion was cell cycle regulation, and we have discussed so far what are the different steps that plays an important functions in the regulation of the cell cycle. And now we are at third section in which we are going to have a look on how G2S transition is being controlled by the different regulatory proteins and the cyclin CDK complexes, of course. So we'll start off with the discussion of the suppression of temperature sensitive, and of course these are mutant CDKs. This would be followed by the discussion of the control of G1 to the S transition by an enzyme, and we have discussed its role in the very first section, the Syk protein. This would be followed by the summary of the pre-replication complex, and then we'll move towards the next section. Of course, we'll start off with the suppression of the temperature-sensitive mutant CDK. So what happens in this particular case, we have a wild-type cells. So in this particular case, the wild-type cells, they are going to be growing on both the 25 degrees C temperature and the 36 degrees C temperature, and they are going to cause the formation of the colonies, of course, because in this particular case, both the cyclin CDK complexes, the G1 cyclin CDK complexes is capable of growing at both 25 and 36 degrees C. Now, what happens when there is a mutation in the temperature sensitive CDC28 cells? So what happens in this particular case? The wild type G1 cyclin along with the CDK is going to grow at the 25 degrees C temperature because of course there is a mutation, but at low temperature this low affinity CDK is going to bind with the wild type G1 cyclin, and hence the colonies are going to be formed. But what happens when there is an increased temperature, as you can see over here, because the mutant CDC28 temperature sensitive cells were having low affinity CDK. So what happened in this particular case, they are not going to bind with the cyclin, and hence when there is no binding, there is no progression of the cell cycle, and hence the cell cycle is going to be arrested in G1 phase. So what happens in this particular case when the CDC28 temperature sensitive cells were transformed with a high copy G1 cyclin plasmid? So in this particular case, we saw the excess wild type cyclin has been produced, and there has been seen that the mutant low affinity CDKs have binded at low temperature. But what happens in this particular case, because there was a high copy of G1 cyclin plasmid, so this also shifted the of course equilibrium, and the SPF complex was also formed at the high temperature as well. So moving on towards the control of G1 to S transition by the Syk protein, we have over here the S-phase cyclin that has binded with the CDK. And of course, this particular activity is being inhibited by the Syk protein. So what happens in this particular case, the G1 cyclin CDK complexes, they are going to come and cause the phosphorylation of the Syk proteins at two different steps. This particular activation of the phosphorylation of the Syk protein is going to be recognized by the ubiquitin ligases, and they are going to be, of course, cause the ligation and the tagging with the ubiquitin molecule, resulting in the polyubiquitinylation. Now, this polyubiquitinated Syk protein that was, of course, initially being phosphorylated by the action of G1 cyclin CDK complexes is now going to be degraded under the action of the proteasome, of course. And when it's being degraded, the active site for the S-phase cyclin is being activated, and of course at this particular stage the S cycle, the S phase is going to be initiated, resulting in the initiation of the DNA transcription, resulting in the formation of the origin of replication complex, and pre-replication complex is going to be formed, and there are so many molecules that are going to be taking a role in the formation of the pre-replication complex that we are going to see in the next slide. So what happens in this particular case, we have an ORC over here that is being checked by the B-type cyclin CDKs under the normal circumstances, so that there is no MCM2 protein molecule, there is no cadherin molecules that can, of course, bind and move towards the nucleus until or unless B-type cyclin CDK have been degraded, and once they are being degraded, the MCM molecules MCM2 in this particular case, they are going to be migrated towards the nucleus in this particular case, resulting in the formation of pre-replication complex. So what happens in this particular case, the ORC is going to be binded with the MCM along with the two protein molecules. Of course, they are CDC20. Of course, they are going to play an important functions in the establishment. So what happens is at the step 2, we have an S-phase cyclin CDK complexes, and these are basically going to cause the phosphorylation of the MCM proteins. The phosphorylation of these proteins would result in the activation of the MCM2, and they are going to perform the action of the helicases, the DNA helicases, and they are going to open the pre-replication complex. They are going to open the ring from where the DNA polymerase is going to bind along with its primase and different DNTPs, and the primers are going to bind, and hence the leading and the lagging strand in a semi-conservative model, the DNA replication is going to be started. So in this particular case, of course, we have seen that the polymerase and the primase, they both came at the step 4 and they initiated the DNA replication process, and of course it moved on in a semi-conservative fashion where the MCM2 are playing the role of the helicases after they are being phosphorylated by the activity of the cyclin phase, S-phase cyclin CDK, because that particular S-phase cyclin CDK was activated, if you can see in the previous slide, by the action of the G1 cyclin CDKs when they basically phosphorylated SYK1 protein, and hence this phosphorylated SYK1 was basically a signal for the polyubiquitinylation by tagging with the ubiquitin molecules, and hence this was followed by the proteasomal degradation part. So we discussed the assembly of the pre-replication complex in this particular case. So we have seen in this particular section what are the different categories for the suppression of the temperature sensitive CDKs, and we have seen how under the wild type situation arises. What happens in this particular case is you can see at both 25 degrees C and 36 degrees C temperature, there is high affinity between the cyclin and the CDK complexes, but what happens when there is mutation in the CDC28, there is low affinity of the CDK binding with its cyclin. So at high temperature of 36 degrees C, there was no binding that was seen. This was followed by the discussion, of course, by the control of G1 to S transition by the SYK, in which we saw how G1 cyclin CDK complexes active phosphorylate SYK1 protein, which is being tagged with the ubiquitin molecules, resulting in the polyubiquitinylation, and hence followed by the proteasomal cleavage. And this was followed by the activation of the S-phase cyclin molecules, which basically cause the phosphorylation of the MCM2, resulting in the activation of their role as helicases, and they moved, causing the activation and the recruitment of the DNA polymerases, primases, so that the S-phase serves its purpose, and that was the replication of the DNA. So that was all for this particular section. Thank you for watching sqadia.com. I'll see you in the next section.